there, we're diving into the Monster Manual again today. We're doing C and D, maybe even E, and this is the first edition Monster Manual from 1977. This one is from, I think, 2016. This is 5th edition. The other one was 1st edition. Let me just see if I can find, 2014 looks like. 10th printing, October 2018. All right, anyway, and you'd think this video is about this one, but it's really not. It's about how the heck we got here, and a little bit of the history of all the monsters. So yeah, we were actually starting in D today. So we're straight up with demons. Now, in the late 70s when this came out, this game was new. Like, you know, nobody had seen anything quite like this before. And certain conservative, religious-type parents, they did not care for demons and stuff in here. And also nipples. And so that gave rise to what came known to be the Satanic Panic, which, of course, you know, that D&D was corrupting the youth or whatever. And nothing could be further from the truth. My grandma forbid me from playing Dungeons & Dragons, did not like it one single bit. And, you know, what can I say? I just sort of muddled through. And fortunately, most of the time I was with my mom. I was raised by a single mom. And she was totally cool with it. She was very liberal with her thinking. And it was great. And I loved it. So let's talk about the demons. Of course, so many classic demons come out of this one. You've got Demogorgon, Jubilex, and I always read it as Jubilex. Isn't that weird? And I think that's like a common thing. He's like the Lord of Oozes. Manes, which is like the lowest level of demon. Orcus. And then, of course, the types of demons. Now, what I want to do, I just want to do a little bit of comparison here. So there used to be type 1 through 6, right, all on this page, and they had names after them. Rock, Hezro, Glabrizu. So supposedly these were like names that they would, like names of them, proper names. And so like weirdly in this one it says Nelfeshni, etc., Merilith, etc. And I don't know why the first 3 don't have etc. on them. Type 6, of course, is the Balor, and that is like completely J.R.R. Tolkien. And so anyway, but what I want to do is, so in the current Monster Manual, of course you have demons. In the mid-90s, they renamed them to Tanari, and that was to sort of get to sort of like wash up Dungeons & Dragons for popular consumption. But now, in the current one, they're just alphabetically ordered, and they don't make any sort of, there's no types anymore, and so they took this name Glabrizu, type 3, and well, let's see. So there's that art. That's the old art, original art, and so it was a type 3 demon, and they did get more powerful as they went, you know, up in the numbers. So anyway, but the thing is, and the thing that like kind of makes me sad, is that they don't have very many, like they used to have just like so many spells that they could do. And so like the Glabrizu could polymorph self an unlimited number of times, which made this such an interesting creature. And I don't think they have that ability anymore. No, they do not. And they had telekinesis. They had all sorts of crazy abilities, which were like really cool and made them fearsome opponents, like just absolutely nuts. And so, long about 1981, they came out with Queen of the Demon Web Pits. Now, when I was 12, in the summer of 81, I walked in to a couple of my friends playing D&D. They were trying to figure it out. They kind of just roughly knew about it. And this is the module that they had. So I have incredible memories of this module. I just recently did a 1.5-year campaign where, among other modules, I Gately-ified them and made them into this elevated campaign. And it was incredible. It was so good. It made me so happy. And yeah, it was a load of fun. They're never going to forget it. And one of the players was a buddy of mine that I met in junior high school. And we role played all those many years. So it's really cool. And the reason I bring this up is that this module had a lot of those demons in it. Like, the monster manual had just come out, like, well, 4 years prior. And they used a lot of the demons in this. And as you can see, this is the Loth, or maybe a Drow priestess. And there's a Glabrezu and a Hezrou. And they're real, like, this guy's eyeballs are real weird. And it was just really an absolutely cool module. I'm just going to flip through it and see if there's any other art of demons. So basically, you would go through these different levels. So, like, here's a map where, as you can see, you're ambushed by Hezrou, which are like these frog demons. And they had so many abilities. Levitation, telekinesis, teleport, no error, unlimited number of times. So every round they could just teleport. They were so incredibly powerful. So a lot's been changed in order to basically make the game more palatable to the general public and also to new players. And then, of course, here you have the introduction of the Yolklol, which I don't... what was I going to say? Oh, yeah, and I have a Facebook page. I'm going to give you the liner notes for that. It's called OPDM, Overpowered Dungeon Master. And I actually created a really cool entry with a lot of great AI-generated art and making much more powerful versions of this creature. So there you go. There's a Loth. I used to literally have nightmares about this. Yeah, I was a very impressionable child. So the new monster manual is not great. In terms of the entries, they really dumbed down these demons. They just turned them into beat sticks with, like this guy, he has darkness, that's pretty good. Detect magic, dispel magic is okay. Confusion is good. Fly, but it's once per day. Fly, power word stun, once per day. Yeah, these guys are a shadow of their former selves. And of course, other demons from different times. Here's your Hezrou, your Merilith. And she used to have tons of magic abilities. And now, I don't think she has any. Well, teleport. Yeah, it's 120 feet. So, yeah, it is not like it used to. Oh, there's Yolklol. The art here is really good. And there's Varrock. Challenge rating 6. Well, they never were that powerful. So anyway... So yeah, demons and devils, that concept did go into the new monster manual. So there you go. So that was your demons. And then, of course, in the new monster manual, there's probably 6 additional entries. And so, of course, you get into devils. You have these devil lords, I guess you might see, the archdukes of hell. And this really captured my imagination when I was a kid. I would write whole adventures based in hell. And let me tell you, my grandma did not care for that. And of course, there's devils in all my comments apply to the ones in the 5th edition monster manual. Pit Fiend, of course. So they both have kind of this Balrog type of creature. And in fact, I do believe Balor is mentioned in Lord of the Rings. And we're back to demons now. So there you go. Let's just flip through really the current monster manual and just look at the devils. The devil. Yeah, they've written obviously a lot more about them. This is obviously way more deluxe. Yeah, the chain devil. He comes in. Oh, I actually do know where this guy is from. So all of this is sort of this amalgamation of other sources. And it is, I do believe, I want to say the Monster Manual too. So Monster Manual came out in 77. This came out in 81. And oh yeah, I used to literally carry like 5 books in my backpack at all times. That's what we used to have instead of cell phones. Like you would have, your backpack would have an app. You'd have like a pocket knife in it. This is an apple cutting app. So let's. I'm curious to know if I'm correct. So a lot of these demons and devils and demodans and all these other things, they didn't make it into the new monster manual, but a lot of them did. Bar Ulgura made it in. Kazmi. But this actually, Monster Manual 2 has a lot of monsters. This is kind of an abridgment. It collects all these monsters from different sources. The Kazmi actually comes from my almost favorite module of all time. Let's see if I can find it. I've got like literally 4 copies of this. It's crazy. So here you go. Lost Caverns of Sarkanth. So this is a dungeon module, 1982. A friend of mine bought it and he wanted to run us through it so he wouldn't let us see it. And I was like just desperate to read this module. And so Lost Caverns had 2 books in it. So it basically had the dungeon module, and then it had monsters and magical items. And this was a mini monster manual, and Gary Gygax, the man, he basically came up with all this stuff. The Behir is a classic. That's now in the current monster manual. Demi Lich, of course, that in turn, that came from Tomb of Horrors, which is yet an earlier module. Spoiler alert, I guess. Yeah, here you go. Here's Kazmi. So this is where this demon first appeared. Now, if you look in the back here, there's all sorts of stuff about summoning demons. So let me tell you, this triggered all this satanic panic stuff of how to summon demons and spirits and whatever it is. I mean, absolutely. Of course, but it's all like if you read it, it's not like, oh, actually, hey kids, actually go out and do this. And then, of course, it's not real anyway, so who cares? It's fantasy on both sides. So anyway, Lost Caverns of Sarkanth is absolutely amazing. A must-have for anybody who wants some whatever it is, some nostalgia. Sorry, someone just walked up. It's the mail lady, and someone's with her, and I'm kind of checking it out. And I think it's a trainee. What the heck? All right, let's continue. So Grazit comes from whatever it is, from Lost Caverns of Sarkanth, Fraser Blue as well. And so, yeah, a lot of this stuff just is a recap of earlier creatures. And of course, you have the Darrow. They come from Lost Caverns as well. Divas. Divas and Angels are now inside of the whatever it is, the current 5th edition Monster Manual. Sorry, I got caught off guard by all those things. So this is the Monster Manual 2, which came out, I think, in '83. In fact, I'm kind of curious now. Yeah, 1983. So yeah, pretty well after. But again, Monster Manual 2 is really just recapping with some new art, some other things. Now, Gary Gygax, obviously, you got to imagine him sitting in his apartment, probably typing away on a word processor, which did exist at the time, and also probably just had a big old stack of books, and he had to fill this monster. He had to make 350 monsters. I'll bet you that was the goal. And of course, he made a zillion dinosaurs. And dinosaurs are really cool, but there's a lot of space with no illustrations, sort of being, yeah, almost no description. And it's like, really, did we need all these things? So here it is, page after page, that could have been filled up with something. Now, I wonder why in the Fiend Folio, which, by the way, is absolutely full of amazing art and ideas. And the thing is that this was a little different because they just put out the call and said, hey, mail in your ideas for monsters, and then they used them. And I think once TSR was getting like bigger, I think there were copyright issues with that, where they were like, well, we couldn't get a hold of this person, we couldn't get the rights, or they didn't want to just do it and then, hope the person forgot about it. So that's why I think a lot of these monsters in the Fiend Folio, you do not see them in current publications. Like 80% of these things are just wiped out and don't ever appear after this. So, all right, where are we? Okay, I'm going to try and get through the D's. Let's see if I can do it. Doppelganger, obviously that has existed in every single iteration. Oh yeah, we're not going to get through the D's because it's dragons. So let me just do everything except dragons in the D's. Now Displacer Beast, here's the original art for that. So let me just hold it up. Come on. There we go. That's some pretty cool art. It's very evocative. It's a really super cool idea. It's one of the few monsters. There's like 8 monsters where Wizards of the Coast, which of course has inherited all of the intellectual property, they have, they maintain like rights to it. So, or they insist on rights to it. But what of course I found out recently by following all of this hubbub about Wizards of the Coast and changing the open game license is that, you know, you can't really own a lot of this stuff. Like you can't own Tyrannosaurus Rex, and you can't own an artistic style, and you can't own a, you know, guy on horse wielding sword, you know, concepts. So it's weird. Anyway, so in the new Monster Manual, I love it because guess what? There's only 6. It's not very much on dinosaurs, but here we are. Check out this new slick, sweet art for the Displacer Beast. If you go online, there's so much great art for a Displacer Beast. But good luck getting an artificial intelligence to create such a creature. Doppelganger, of course. Draco Lich, I don't know, this wasn't in the original Monster Manual, even though this is definitely a fare of Dungeons and Dragons, like Draco Liches are iconic. But frankly, I don't know where they come from. I can't identify the origin. And of course, there's different alternate dragons, Shadow Dragon. And then now you're into this. And that's good. By the way, it's going to be a whole video about dragons. And I think I have a Draconomicon. It's hard to find. Dragon Turtle, Dragon. I don't think Dragon made it into, it's like a lion dragon. And that has some really insanely good art. Look at how cool that is. So evocative. And like already, even like 2 years in, they had some decent artists. Dryad, which of course is from Myth. I wonder if they have Dragon in here. I've got to get past all these dragons. So yeah, as far as I know, Gary Gygax came up with the idea of the chromatic dragons and the metallic dragons. I could be stand corrected. So yeah, the Dragon Turtle is a staple. And Dragon Turtle also makes an appearance in Lost Caverns of Sawkamp as well. And yeah, Dryad, Dryder, Duergar is a new addition. I'm not sure, they definitely appear in Monster Manual too. So a lot of this stuff, I would say at least 90% of it was 1983 and before. And it has new art, new stats. They've stripped them down to make them simpler. My recommendation is if you're a DM, go back in, get this book, or just add your own stuff and make these things more interesting, more powerful, more tactically flexible, and all of that. All right, so we're past the D's. That's all we did. We didn't even get the dragons. Hey, thanks for tuning in, and there's yet more to come.